This is attorney Marcus Sermons, and here is a helpful child support tip that may come in handy whenever you change custody of your child. In situations where a child is living, let's say the child is living with mom, and for whatever reason, there's a circumstance where the child no longer will be living with mom, she's going to change residences and go over to dad's house. Now, dad has been paying child support, but because of the change, mom and dad decide that there will no longer be any child support payments. So rather than going through the court, they simply do not require dad to make the payments to mom. So the payments are no longer being made, but according to the court, they're still supposed to be made. Now, there's been hypothetically 2 or 3 years that now have passed by since the child has been living with dad. Now, all of a sudden, the child support enforcement agency is coming, and the Department of Revenue is saying, you owe us, dad, a lot of money that we're supposed to turn over to mom because you haven't paid child support in 3 years. And dad would then say, well, hey, my daughter or my son has been with me for the last 3 years. Here's the problem. If you do not file a petition for modification to change the child support numbers that have been awarded to the mom, it's almost like it never really happened. The change of custody, it's almost like it never really happened. You will be awarded a new child support calculation from the time that you request it. So if you don't request it until 3 years later, all of that money that you were supposed to be paying over the last 3 years that you didn't pay, technically you still owe it. And so sometimes people get caught up in those types of situations and they're left frustrated and they're left confused. But there are a few circumstances where you're allowed to look at the child support and change it retroactively. But most of the time, you're going to be looking at a circumstance where the child support is changed moving forward, not going backwards. So once that custody changes and your child is going to be with you, you need to be filing something with the court to have the child support modified.